Setting up at the East Reading Festival is in action.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
If you want to, I'll change the situation. Right people, right time, just the wrong location. I've got a good idea. Just you keep me near. I'll be so good for you. I could be so good for you.
I'm gonna help you.
Love you like you want me to.
I'll do anything for you. I'll be so good for you.
I could be so good for you. Yes, it is. You're searching for good times, but just wait and see. As you come running back, you come running back, you come running back to me. Go ahead. Walking on the way she came, staring as she called my name, and I can't get it out of my head. No, I can't get it out of my head. Now my whole world is gone for dead, 'cause I can't get it out of my head. Pray. Card-carrying lifelong members of the union of different kinds. It's why the oak tree bends in the wind that blows, my friend. The river finds its end in the sea, yes it does. For Mother Nature don't draw straight lines, broken molds in a grand design. We look a mess but we're doing fine. We're card-carrying lifelong members of the union of different kinds. Well, Mother Nature don't draw straight lines, broken molds in a grand design. We look a mess but we're doing fine. We're card-carrying lifelong members of the union of different kinds.
Thanks very much, and thanks very much to John in the middle here for inviting us along. Give me a round of applause for John, who's running this stage today. Thanks very much. Well done. Thank you all.
I'm just one person who organises things, so we've got a good group of people and we've got a good clutch of stories for you today. So I am going to start off with the goose that laid the golden egg. There was a man who owned a goose that laid golden eggs. Without fail, she laid a golden egg each day. The goose was content. She had a large field of luxurious grass, bordered by a beautiful river of fresh running water. There was a shallow area where she could stand to drink and cool her webbed feet. She watched the ducks swim by, the swan, and acknowledged her with their happy quacks.
Brothers Grimm story that was collected in the early 1800s. So although it was written down then, it's obviously many hundreds of years older than that. It's been told and retold over the years. And it's about three friends who lived together in a beautiful little cottage. And they were a blackbird, a mouse, and a sausage. They lived a very happy life, and they'd organise things so that they shared the chores.
I'm busy working out in the forest. But to the mouse, we're busy now when you'll come home and arrest me. I'm the best cook, said the sausage. I should be the cook.
Hi. So this is a story about a very old and very tired wizard. The seas are rough, spitting surf and thunder barreling onto the sharp, slick rock of the island cliffs. When the man comes, his small wooden rowing boat rises and falls with the swelling waves, and unfathomably his oars lie unused at the bottom of the vessel.
His true dancer of Argentine tango for 10 years. He's been to many classes and danced most weekends at milongas and tango festivals in London, Oxford, Reading, Maidenhead, Windsor, Edinburgh, to name but a few cities and towns in the UK. He has also danced in Toulouse, Hamburg, Warsaw and Amsterdam. It is a very popular and enjoyable dance, just as it was in the 1930s for his father Eric, who, as a young man, was living and working in Santiago, Chile for several years.
Tango softly when ghosts are by, the moon is rising in a starlit sky, and the lady calls for us all to dance, one last waltz, one last chance. Music plays while time is still, trees sway high over a silver hill, shadows move, they never rest, in search of a step that will be the best. A move that comes from another place, where love and life are expressed through grace, then shared together for a moment's bliss. Listen carefully. Is it this? Is it this? The people so quiet, the music so loud, move together in a searching crowd, all wanting, all hoping against the odds, to dance for one moment as if they were gods. Tango softly, along with the ghosts, haunting this room with music as host, dancing forever, no future, no past. This step, the next, but never the last. Thank you.
And finding that there was no writers group like the one she had back in the hometown of Toronto, she started one. And she started with a simple ethos and foundational message, which was, if you write, you're a writer. Now when Crystal returned to Canada, I kind of staged a coup d'etat and took over running the group as a benevolent dictatorship, and I wanted to maintain that ethos as well. If you write, you're a writer. And that's what we still do. So today we have several published authors among the group, in fact. There's a few more about to be published. I'm not one of them, so I don't know how long I'm going to be able to fake it before making it without and continue to stand here in front of all the others, but nevertheless it's lovely to see our members getting their work out into the world. Now normally at this point I'll tell you a little more about the group and what we do, but one of our members has written a poem that does just that, so I'll let her tell you. It's Maura Newton.
We are the Caversham writers, because Caversham is our place. Okay, start that again, shall I? We are the Caversham Writers, because Caversham is our place. We meet up on a Wednesday, online or face to face. We sometimes do a writing prompt, sometimes go for a meal. Sometimes we read our work aloud, depends on how we feel. We all support each other with feedback and advice. The group's full of encouragement. It's really very nice. We all write different genres. We have poets and playwrights too. Whatever it is you're working on, we have a place for you. So if you want to join us and you've got some time to kill, come speak to our great leader, Mr. Adrian Raphael.
Not an exciting wall. In fact, I'm just an ordinary wall that makes up 1/4 of a room in a house. Needless to say, I don't get out.
Every time we say goodbye, I wonder why, a little. He remembered the family he didn't want to say goodbye to, never knowing if it would be the last goodbye. It wasn't that the guy on the radio didn't sing it properly, though the cover, like most covers, never had the same sparkle as the original. At least on the radio he didn't get the video with all that fake nostalgia.
Droning static walls murmur secrets of an eclipsed morning bedroom, while saffron beams from streetlights spill through the heavy cracks of a dense curtain. Oh, can you not? Sorry, should I stop? Is this better? Yeah. I'll start again, sorry about that. Droning static walls murmur secrets of an eclipsed morning bedroom, while saffron beams from streetlights spill through the cracks of a heavy and dense curtain, reaching to tease the corners of an oak wardrobe. Soft fibres of cotton pillows brush to the delicate cheek of sunburnt youth, and he watches from the doorway, waiting for the sun to signal his departure back to the astral plane until the moon rises and you can ward the nightmares off again. Thank you.
This is the first chapter of my new novel called Cancelled. Jake paused to catch his breath and surreptitiously check his surroundings as he walked up the steep incline of the hill. His short, wavy dark hair began to blow gently in the light breeze as he reached the crest of the hill. He had parked his trusty Range Rover in a pub car park in the last small town he had passed and changed the plates, so even if someone somehow did remember it, they would have the wrong details to pass on. It had left him a 12-mile hike, including the return journey, but he...
Unlikely friendship with a 101-year-old veteran of the Boer War. Mr. Kennedy was our next door neighbour, and when we first moved there I was a little frightened of him in the way that very old people can be to the very young. My stepfather told me I shouldn't be scared of him. With his permanently furious expression, cold hard eyes and a hawk-like patrician nose, my stepfather wasn't one to talk, but there was something about Mr. Kennedy that both fascinated and frightened in equal measure.
There is a house in Silver Street they call the Rising Sun. It's been the venue of many events, and we're here to show you one. The only thing a poet needs is an idea and a pen, and the only time they're satisfied is when they get a claim. Oh, mothers, tell your children, read the words they make fun. We'll hear them at the big slam on the stage of the Rising Sun.
I've recently had a poem in Reading today. There he is. This one is called Poem Kiss. This poem yearns to hold you, wrap its romantic arms around you. This poem rejoices that it's found you. Warm words warming your heart in a warm embrace. Hold this paper in your hand, fold this paper in your hand. See,
I spotted it there, hanging on the charity shop rail. One of those bodycon dresses, and thereby hangs the tail. From the tag I could see that it was at least a size too small, but lycra, it's very stretchy, so I wasn't put off at all.
Got to make it quick, so a very brief few words that I have to say. I used to go to the Highlands when I was younger, and Scotland holds a special place in my heart. The scenery is stunning, the people were warm and friendly and made me feel very welcome. I absolutely love the place. So I wrote this ditty, and it is only intended as fun, and laughter is good medicine for the soul. So I hope you all take it as intended, and I don't want to cause any offence. So, okay, I'm good. Okay. This poem is about the time I went to bonny Scotland, up in the Highlands. A strange day and a strange encounter with a haggis. This poem is called The Haggis. I was out walking in the Highlands, in the heart of Glencoe, taking it nice and easy. Yes, taking it nice and slow. 'Twas a cloudy day in the month of May, and dankness was in the air. I looked up to the mountains either side, and I didn't have a single care. Then all of a sudden a thick mist came down and covered the floor of the valley. I thought it was time to be on my way and to no longer dilly-dally. Then out of the mist I saw this beast about 100 yards away, staring at me eyeball to eyeball. It was disconcerting, I must say. It was like it knew the fact that I had feasted on one of its kind. A Burns night with tatties and neeps. Yes, on haggis I had dined. It was all big and hairy. I cannot describe much more than that. It was unlike anything else you could see, more terrifying than any lion or big wild cat. And then it turned its head away, and back into the mist it went. My encounter with the haggis was over. I felt drained, my energy spent. I pulled out from my pocket my bottle of bells, had a wee dram to sort me out. I had lived to tell the tale of what a haggis is all about. So if you're ever in the Highlands, beware the haggis and keep a lookout. 'Cause if he sneaks up from behind you, you'll be telling nobody nout. It's a rare but dangerous thing, and this tale, well, it is true. So watch out for the haggis, or he might just get you. Thank you.
I also write poetry. I am a baby boomer, I freely confess. Not a label I choose, but nonetheless, a child born after the war, and at some point before 1964. And whenever anything goes awry, from Zeds and millennials comes the cry, often without even a second thought, that everything's the boomer's fault.
With this, that. When I was 8, I moved from the north. My friends at my new school had moved here too, from islands far away to the south. They told stories of sugarcane, fresh coconut and mango. My stories of coal, iron and steel could not compare. And in class, they tried to tell their stories of sugarcane, fresh coconut and mango, and the teacher ignored them. But in the playground we listened, sitting on the cold winter steel of the climbing frame. Their sunshine stories of sugarcane, fresh coconut and mango warmed us.
I'm Kay, and this is a poem I wrote for my mum on Mother's Day. It's called Mother. Mother, will you hold me, just 1 minute more, as I close my eyes and dream about the days when I was 4, when you held my hand to balance me and guide me on my way. My welly boot feet tackled playground heights. You still balance me today. Mother, will you comfort me in those arms as safe as heaven? My memories dance in remembrance of the days when I was 7.
Got a new magnum opus which I'll do at least the first part of. Take a stroll along the Spindrift Sound. As you walk eastwards, south coast of the Sword Spur, to your right is the sea, laughing and blue. Nothing but islands from here to the ice, insolent and independent in hermetism. Next are the flows of the ice. As you walk on to the tip of the Sword Spur, come back! Come back! It is a girl, a weeping damsel, a lost princess, a forsaken mermaid, a desolate siren. You round that last spur, black and grey and brown, nothing between you and grey seething ocean. To your left, to your right and ahead, and behind as you see it has lost any once friendly aspect. You're trespassing where you'd no business to be. You cannot retreat now with no reckoning. As you look back, you discover the rock that you cling to is now but an island. You look east to the sea, face the wind as it chills you, numbing your face and tearing your eye. Look to where the lost jumble of torn rocks and broken drop into the depths of the grey-green home of the chthonic ones lying deep below seething water. There is the line where the breakers start, the last defiant spur jutting out like a sword, the final defender of law against chaos and destruction. And the voice. Come back! Come back! Plaintive mewing.
This is a poem which I wrote more years ago than I choose to remember, and it was inspired by nature and the story which I heard. And I heard it, I think, from a brew brewer, I think it was. But he told me that in the times when we had monasteries, the monks would tell stories about faith and the Bible, and they'd use nature to do so, and how they'd use flowers to inspire these stories. And one of them was about a plant called a dogwood. Now, it's planted as a very small reed, but it's basically a shrub, but it's got a very interesting flower. And there was a legend that this flower and this plant was once a mighty tree that was grown in Israel and used to make crosses from. And because of the crucifixion, God cursed this tree so it would never be used for a cross again after 33 AD. This is called dogwood. The legend of the dogwood, Rome's most favoured tree. Now by God's hand it is not much to see, and yet the images of pain and suffering it still brings unto me.
So I've got 2 poems. The first one is about rereading classic books you read as a teenager as a 40-year-old. And it's called The Older I Get, the More I Realise Miss Havisham is #life goals. And when I am older still, I will trail my house in my decaying wedding dress. Say, come welcome spiders, weave your fractile webs, we are all fractured round here. And I take my domestic duties lightly. I will post so many pics on Insta and call it #gothic chic. Take selfies in my wedding dress and say, still fit it bitches. I will go online to troll the trad wives, and occasionally I'll go to B&M just to swear at the live, love, laugh signs. I will never regret the man I did not marry. Say, looking back, he had more red flags than a Communist Party rally. And there really is no better thing for a woman to be than old and bitter. Spinster, spit it with glee. It is so close to the word sister.
Okay, we're doing hello, ready. Yeah, hi, East Reading Festival. So happy to be here. We're doing a fundraiser for medical aid for Palestinians. We're selling poetry books, and we're going to, basically name your price. We have a suggested donation of £1 per book, but we really hope you'll show up to support medical aid for Palestinians. And we have a card reader, but I'm trying to get that set up. Hey, okay, we're doing, hello Reading, East Reading. Yeah, hi, East Reading Festival. So happy to be here. We're doing a fundraiser for medical aid for Palestinians. We're selling poetry books, and we're going to, basically name your price. We have a suggested donation of £1 per book, but we really hope you'll show up to support medical aid for Palestinians. And we have a card reader, but I'm trying to get that set up. Hey, okay, we're doing, hello Reading, East Reading. Yeah, hi, East Reading Festival. So happy to be here. We're doing a fundraiser for medical aid for Palestinians. We're selling poetry books, and we're going to, basically name your price. We have a suggested donation of £1 per book, but we really hope you'll show up to support medical aid for Palestinians. And we have a card reader, but I'm trying to get that set up. Is working together, we can achieve anything. This is my only attempt at Terzarima. I don't usually write in form. An artist, a monk, and a mason walk into a nave, and the artist breaks into a joke about Dorchester Abbey. There was sex and booze and a prior who wouldn't behave. Oh, the ladies kept coming and going through doors without keys. The monk interrupts him, deadpan, a toxic environment. And the mason laughs and the artist swats at a bee. The next day at work, they show up with their blueprints and diagrams.
They're from my latest book, The Weather on the Moon, published by Two Rivers. And if you absolutely insist on buying one, they are available on the table. So I'd like to start with a poem set in Rio de Janeiro. There's a beach and favelas, I think they're pronounced, which are separated from each other by the Atlantic Road, which also appears in the poem. And there's a colossal statue of Christ the Redeemer, which peers out at Rio. Okay, that better? Much better, yeah. Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. Anyway, it's all nonsense. So anyway, this poem is called Avenida Atlantica. When there's a gap between the big cars, I'll run across to the golden beach by the dazzling sea to fetch deck chairs, towels and drinks for the tanned girls, the muscled boys. Our Lord up there looks far off and colourless to me, not like the picture by my bed.
Studying poet's anthology, and it's called Light Touch. It's like this. It's like clacking teeth on a warm journey, plugging pens from my pocket into train station sockets with a straw stuck down a stranger's mouth. It's juggling a lover's bones inside their hand like a circus act, my cheek on your arm like a Hoover on carpet, unclean and nice. It's not quite that, it's more like here, on a deck chair, in the breathy dark with the Twilight soundtrack on for the 100th time. It's a dozen light bulbs stacked in a carton of eggs, breakfast with the mouse your cat left at the doorstep. It's going to museums and just wanting to touch. Like the plants growing fast around listed buildings. It's nearing the end of your favourite series, knowing you'll have to say goodbye. When you sat on the floor for the last time, you heard TV static and wrapped VHS tape around your fingers like a fruit winder. It's that first fight with your imaginary friend. It's kind of like this, like if you spoke too quick with a burnt tongue and if you never said goodbye. I kind of thought I was kneeling, no? Like I will be at the wedding, or on the train standing while my friend sits below me complaining. Or like the other kind of rituals where you're a figure that's not a ghost but a staple. In the car park, their shoulders are yellow with jaundice or cheapness. Either way, you can't miss them. Or the child dressed up like rocks on a mountain for Halloween, mistaken by every foot that finds a journey, then takes it. Look at the cat, gotten so big he's a monster. Did you ever feel like you were too big while sat in maths class? Like your shoulders took up a whole row of seats and your back was a wall wet with rainbow graffiti, nerves making the colours drip down. Which means the arms must have also been walls, and that's why they stayed there even after you left. Perfume named after a girl kept the barrier, and still, did you ever want to kiss her? Then, when the bell rang, you got caught with red between your teeth. The cat ate a bird once, and it hurt, but I stayed there too. There's jam in my shoes.
Just one moment. Okay, the old blue box. I was just 19 back then, but nothing was ever the same again. It disappeared and left no trace. That terrible thing from deep, dark space. The snowflakes eddied and fluttered weird. The day that ancient thing appeared, the noise of howling, scraping rocks, and the fading sight of an old blue box.
Not fall. Tomorrow will be a remembering. You can be beautiful, and you'll believe this, all this, as you step beneath the songs of wrens into the fields of wheat. And then this one is for my chosen person. It's called Of Dark and Light. When I think of you sleeping, the dark pressing down, and in the dark I see your dreams, the small escapes of air from your mouth rising to the ceiling, circling the lampshade, fading like they were never there.
Told a lie. So watch the wall, my darlings, while the gentlemen go by.
Hannah, it's called If People Disapprove of You. If people disapprove of you, make being disapproved of your hobby. Make being disapproved of your aim. Devise new ways of scoring points in the being disapproved of game. Let them disapprove in their dozens. Let them disapprove in their hordes. You'll find that being disapproved of builds character, brings rewards. Just like any form of striving, don't be arrogant, don't coast on your high disapproval rating. Try to be disapproved of most.
This is by Liv Talk, who is a very brilliant poet who writes a lot about climate change, about being a mum. She was very active online during COVID.
Sorry, can you just step a bit closer to the mic?
School shirt blues. I found myself blubbing as I did up the buttons on his school shirt. Big fat tears that come when your last kid, the little stroppy one, who still screams your name in the night and clings to you like a monkey on their favourite banana tree, smiles at you proudly over a starchy collar.
This is a poem from Lorca, just because I love the man, not much else to say, so this is Ballad of the Moon. The moon came into the forge in her bustle of flour and nard. The little boy stares at her, stares. The boy is staring hard in the shaken air. The moon moves her arms and shows lubrication and pure. Her
July.
bella cosa naiurnare sole, un'aria serena dopo una tempesta, e l'aria fresca pare già una festa. Che bella cosa naiurnare sole, monero sole, più bello è, oh sole mio, san fronte a te, oh sole mio, san fronte a te, san fronte a te, monato sole, più bello è me, oh sole mio, san fronte a te, oh sole mio, san fronte a te.
Hello everybody. Hi. Hello. So I'm going to need some help from all of you today.
Simple and plain.
One more time. Simple and plain.
Simple and plain.
Okay. Here we go. I'm never going out sad. Going in hard, Michael Jackson bad. Cold feelings but will never shiver. Never giving up now, I got to deliver. Digging deep when the breath's shallow. Focus acute when the thoughts paro. Monster in this can never be chewed. Kings with purpose can never be fooled into self-opinion from blanket statements spoken blindly by false acquaintance that don't understand your point of view and withdraw from the reality of the true.
Poetry can be deep, dark, messy, like lost in the muddy swamp in the midst of the herd, gathered together sharing the collective reflections on the hurdles of life. It's not always tight standards, clever rhyming patterns. It can be the rambled mumblings of a fractured heart who after tears and sorrow find strength to turn their pain to art. Remembering a line from my earliest poem, inspired by an ugly infatuation.
Get quite frustrated right now what's going on in the world, so I'm going to start with this first piece. I call it SOS. It's my way of ranting without everybody saying shut up, Hess. First and foremost, don't you dare look down your noses. You see, we are purposely divided as they play political osmosis, and yet all we know is this endless red tape, measures and rules that are put in place as they mass wealth at the cost of our freedom, our health, to be stored offshore, lying shrouded in stealth. An oasis that we cannot access. Some might say it was deception. I'm struggling to hear the truth, although it could be my reception. Here's my disclaimer. Yes, I came to place the blame. Point the finger and then shame ya if you're playing everybody like a game. Self-destructive behaviour is manifesting our failure, and I'm done with biting my tongue, so listen up, because I've got something I want to say to you. Say the planet is dying, time is short, could we stop lying? Need for greed, can't stop buying a XXX breed and we are still multiplying. You wanted more? And they're supplying, but how come we're struggling to walk when they're flying? Prices soar, sea levels are rising. Ain't no joking, I'm not smiling. Cracks wide open, but still we are tiling. Fucking problems, but still we are piling. Politicians, still they are lying, but punishments never seem to fit the crime, and yet we collectively have failed to unite. It's clear to see there is just plain black and white to divide and conquer. They are feeding us reasons to fight. It's so fucking bait and still so many fight. Look.
Yes, speaking of the science of life, Lane, do you have the cucumber sandwiches cut for Lady Bracknell?
Yes, sir.
Oh, By the way, Elaine, I see from your book that on Thursday night, when Lord Shorman and Mr. Worthing were dining with me, 8 bottles of champagne are entered as having been consumed.
Yes, 8 bottles and a pint.
Why is it that at a bachelor's establishment, the servants invariably drink the champagne? I ask merely for information.
I attribute it to the superior quality of the wine, sir. I have often observed that in married households, the champagne is rarely of a first-rate brand.
Good heavens! Is marriage so demoralizing as that?
I believe it is a pleasant state, sir.
Cecily Cardew. Cecily, who addresses me as her uncle, from motives of respect that you could not possibly appreciate, lives at my place in the country under the charge of her admirable governess, Miss Prism.
Where is that place in the country, by the way?
That is nothing to you, dear boy. You are not going to be invited. I may tell you candidly that the place is not in Shropshire.
I had suspected that, my dear fellow. I've bunburyed all over Shropshire on 2 separate occasions.
Performance. Weren't the Progress Theatre totally amazing? Yeah, round of applause for the Progress Theatre. Yeah, we've got to go there. We've got to go there. I'm definitely going there. My name is Jilly, darling, and I'm a keen horticulturalist. Yes, plants, flowers. Do we have anyone here who's keen on plants or flowers? Hands up. Jean is. Wonderful, darling. I've got a very, very short poem. It isn't mine, I'm afraid. I'm going to pretend to be Dorothy Parker. Please forgive me. I'm not clever enough to write my own script. It is entitled The Evening Primrose. Does anyone know The Evening Primrose? No. Jean, I'm relying on you. All right, okay, here we go. You know the bloom, unearthly white, that none has seen by morning light. The tender moon alone may bear its beauty to the world. Who'd venture past its dark retreat must kneel for holy things and sweet. That blossom mystically blown, no man may gather for his own.
I'll start with this one. The precise nature of things. The precise nature of things passes me by. Its elusive nature cannot be grasped nor given. It follows me wherever I go. In front, behind, or together. Yet still I've forgotten. From life to life, moment to hour, fear to freedom, it unties more of me. The precise nature of things does not make mistakes. It unfolds in whatever direction it needs to. As water flows around the unflowable into streams of all emotions, it's always running its course, even when it's not. Take as much or as little as you like. Find or forget who you are. The precise nature of things will be there, ready when you are.
It's now my turn. I know my friends are going to be disappointed. They do this every year. They disappear off and then complain that they miss me. But
you're amongst friends here.
Yeah, but yeah, some of you are here. So I'm going to read 3 poems from my new book, which is called The Matrix of My Mind, which is available on Amazon, and you can also buy it from me. It is one of 7 that I have written. Yeah, this first one is called Doing Nothing is Doing Something, and bear with me because I've just realised that I forgot to get my glasses out of the car. In that moment, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something. I'm resting my body and resting my eyes and processing the thoughts within my mind. In that moment, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something. I'm recovering from past fears, dealing with sporadic tears. In that moment, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something. I'm embracing the peace or feeling a feeling and thinking about the life on which I'll have a new lease.
In that moment, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something. Feeling my skin beneath the sheets, listening to my favourite song on repeat. In that moment, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something. Sitting by some water, listening to its tone. Talking to my thoughts, mainly the ones that don't leave me alone. In that moment, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something. Being present in the moment, connecting with whatever I see at times, wondering what surprise the future has for me. In that moment, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something. So don't be mad when I don't answer the phone. In that moment, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing something. I have the right to have some time alone. And this one is called Me, Not You. I see a tear in your eye, it makes me feel uncomfortable, but I reach out because I want you to get by. You see a tear in mine and brush it off and say I'll be fine. I hear the harshness and it makes hit a lower line. I realise I can't get the response I'm looking for and there is no compromise. Because you see, you can't be me and it's expecting me from you that's making me feel so blue. I see your anger controlling you. I do what I can to calm you and give you advice on what you can do whilst trying my best not to intrude. You do the same and just watch me go insane, looking at me like a TV, even though on this channel there's no knowledge for you to gain. I try to reason in my mind. It was hard for you to see the change, but the truth is, it is not any less difficult for me to see you spiralling down that drain. But I see it has all become plain, because you see, you can't be me, and it's expecting me from you that's making me feel blue. Here you come with some good news. I jump around and bust a step or two. Can't let this moment pass without a smile on my face and think of things to do to celebrate. It may seem small, but a mark we must make. I never expect exactly the same, but an enthusiastic smile or some genuine hope niceness would be great once in a while. But I'm reminded once again, we don't walk the same style. Because, you see, you can't be me, and it's expecting me from you that's making me feel blue. So now it's clear exactly what I conclude. Every outcome is it's me, not you. No wonder I feel even more blue. You being like me will never be true, but this I shall not expect anymore, as how could you do me, and not especially if you haven't walked a mile in my shoes. Regardless of when it comes to me, kindness is not what you do. Only I could get more nervous as I go along. Weird.
Brilliant.
Thank you. And this last one is called There's Poetry in Everything. There's poetry in everything. In the pain behind the eyes when you look deep enough beyond the smile disguise. In the birds flying through the skies with wingspans that stretch beyond the mind. In the touch of love and the gentle kiss of the lips or the minds. Of a gentle caress along the thighs. There's poetry in everything. In listening to the shower as the water sings whilst it washes away your stress and massages your skin. Imagining the droplets are cleansing you from within. Your tears, the formulation of the water as they quietly blend in. There's poetry in everything. In healing from your trauma and figuring out who you are from within. Leading you to step into your power and start a life of living. Now tending to your inner child with more than just comfort, as now to the fun you can have to begin. There's poetry in everything. In the smile in your face, as good food you taste, or from the feel of yours or someone else's hands around your waist. The hands of someone whose feelings are not misplaced. Knowing that sitting in the comfort of your own hands and feelings led you to a higher place. There's poetry in everything. In the beams of the sun on a summer's day, sitting on the beach as you watch the waves, watching you wave your troubles away, as you envision them being carried away to another place, wishing the peace was forever here to stay. There's poetry in everything. In the creation of life, when love is sworn, whether spoken or unspoken, the connection of energies brings forth joy when a child is born. Even the bond appears to be forlorn. There's an infinite connection that can never be torn. There's poetry in everything, in the dreams of the night and the ones you hope for in the morning light, the ones you sacrifice for and become upset about when things don't seem to go right. in the hope of benefits we wish to reap, working hard to stay on our feet that help you to wander when you seek peace and hold you up when you're ready to stand and speak. There's poetry in everything. In a room where words are unheard and the vibes of uncomfortability form from those whose silence is absurd, even in rooms where words are spoken, using kind or rude adjectives and verbs. It's like speaking a foreign language or using words from an old proverb, as what you say becomes misconstrued and everyone feels disturbed. There's poetry in everything, and in everything there's poetry, whether it's written by you or written by me, something just washed down with a type of tea, or just a form of nature's creativity. It's all beautiful unless you're taking the pee, an expense that no one can afford no matter the amount of money. In those situations, there's no better check than one filled with rain, giving you time to sit under a tree, listening to the sounds of the river or stream, whilst you realign, manifest, and deep breathe. Thank you. Right, thank you very much for hanging around. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you to